Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Lena. Welcome back to another video. So it's that time of the year. Once again, we're talking about the worst books that I've read in 2023. I do have to say that I haven't read that many worse or like bad books this year. They're mostly like disappointments that sometimes were due to my own expectations rather than the book being bad. So keep that in mind. Some of these I have given like a good rating, but they still didn't meet the expectations. So don't be mad just because the book is here. It's okay. It's just my opinion. Great disclaimer. You're welcome. But without further ado, let's just get started because these are not in any particular order except the last two, which are indeed the worst books that I read this year. So let's just get started with the disappointments. So I'm going to start with the book that I don't think I've talked about actually, but this is The Warden. This is The Warden. And I was so hyped for this book because I thought it was going to be like that book, the dark fantasy book about necromancy that was going to be just great. And it just wasn't. It wasn't at all a dark type of read. For me, it felt so similar to the Blackstone Thief, which is like a dark setting, but it has like fucking jokes all the time in a lighter tone. Like the atmosphere is dark, but the tone is very light. And I don't like that. I don't like that. If I'm reading a dark fantasy book, I want it to be darker and bad. I don't want jokes thrown here and there. It's just like, it did not work for me at all. And I feel like this story was so meh. It felt like a very like standalone type of book where you're just like, oh, here's this adventure. Maybe I'll do another book. Made me a little bit mad, honestly. I had like such high hopes for this book. Especially, I love the cover. The cover alone is just great. But man, why? I don't know why, but this exists. Why is this a genre book? Is there advertising this just like, not like dark fantasy? Don't do that. Stop it. Then I've already talked about a couple of these in a recent video, but one of them, The Bladed Faith by David Douglas. I talk about his other series in my most surprising books of the year. Because I've read all of his newer books this year. And I'm just really sad about this one. The magic system did not work for me. I really like exploring new religions in books. I found that part of the world really fascinating, like politics and economics and such. But this, I don't know what it is. If maybe it's just the story itself, the magic, or maybe the characters. But something here does not work for me at all compared to how the Keeper series worked for me. And I don't know why, because it's the same author, but that series is just so much more enjoyable than this. This felt really stale. Like, it had nothing drawing me in. I finished it because I was just like, you know what? I like his previous books. Maybe the ending is cool. But the ending just left me completely bland. Like, it was just like, okay. Nothing else. Nothing else. So, I don't know. I kind of want to try book 2 and see if maybe it was a thing of book 1 or maybe it was just my mood at the time. But something here just does not work for me. Makes me really mad, honestly, because I really like his previous series. And this series is about to be finished next year. So, or it's already finished, it might be, but I don't know. This one just does not work at all. Damn, oh my god. I was so sad about this book, honestly. So sad. This is Sons of Darkness. And the thing is, I built myself up in the hype train for this book. I was really interested in this one with his previous publisher, and then it went out of print for a bit, and then it came out with a new publisher. And when it did, I grabbed it and I was just like so interested in reading this. I think I even picked it up for the book club, honestly. As of the 23rd of December, I cannot tell you a single thing about the plot of this book. My mind has completely wiped down everything related to this book after being extremely disappointed by it. It's incredible. I don't think it's bad. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's bad. It started like so strong with the prologue, and then I felt like the rest of the story had nothing to do with the prologue. And I was just like, are these two different books? I don't know. My mind just, everything came back to me right now. But I don't know. It had like something to it at first. Something to it. Like I was so interested. I don't know. And it had like many elements that I have. Like kind of not exactly like a siege, but kind of. And then they have to move into this place to hide. I don't know. Will I read book 2? I don't know. This is a difficult one. I feel like I might give book 1 another chance. Instead of reading book 2, I might read book 1 again and see how I feel about it again. Because, I don't know, it just left me... It left me feeling bad, honestly, because I wanted to like this one so much. I've barely loved any dark fantasies that I've read this year. Barely. I can only think about, like, The Fear of Munkra or something like that. Well, The Sword Defiant. But the rest have been not great. Especially because they are being advertised as dark fantasy, and sometimes they're just not. And I don't know, it's just annoying. It's been an annoying year for the genre, honestly. Then this is purely because of my own expectations as well. But this is Assassin of Reality by Marina and Sergei Yatchenko. And oh my god, this is the sequel to Vita Nostra, and I like that book so much. It's one of my favorite books of all time. I really need to remake that list, by the way. But this took a long time to come out, and I talked about this one on finishing series this year on that video. And there's an issue with the numbers of this series. I don't know if this is actually book 2. On the original series, it says that it's book 4. So what is it? Is it a me thing, or is it actually like a this thing? This thing. So this one I'm for certain reading the first book and then this one just back to back to see if maybe it's been such a long time since I read Nostra that I just wasn't grabbing the essence of that one and I need to reread them. But in general, it was just like a no, honestly. Like, I gave it like 3.5. I was very in the middle of it, and I'm disappointed. Not gonna lie, I'm disappointed because I just like the first book so much. So much. But yeah, I'll give them another try. This one, I'm giving it another try. Then, this is a murder mystery, The Millhouse Murders. And this is the continuation to the Decagon House Murders. It's kind of a direct sequel, but at the same time, it's a different case, just following the same investigator. Well, not the same investigator, but kind of like the same architect as book 1. And that sounded really cool. And I read this book, and it was just so bah. It was just like bah. Like nothing out of the ordinary. I liked it. I didn't hate it, but it was okay. It was okay. I really like locked up murder mysteries though. So that played a huge part on me not hating this. But the ending was very predictable. The plot twist was just obviously was that. Like it had no mystery at all. But I didn't hate the development of the story. So in a way I didn't hate it. But it wasn't great either. So this might surprise you all, because the last time I talked about this book, I said that I actually really loved it. But you see, then I went on a huge hiatus because I wasn't able to record. And the thing is, my feelings about this book have changed a lot. A lot. In a way that I might need to reread this book with another, like, sense. And this is the 11th Cycle. Shocking, I know. But I've been turning my head around this book. I turned my head around this book for at least a month. And I tried to record a video, but, you know, I couldn't. And the thing is, I like this the first time that I read it. It has like that similar vibe to the world of just like Bloodborne, for example. Like, it's just very dark. Everyone is just like very like closed down. I don't know how to describe it, but it has that feeling. Though if you're looking for a Dark Souls inspired book, definitely read An Altar on the Village Green. Has the same mechanics. It's great. But in here, there is a essay scene here that is just so unnecessarily cruel. So unnecessarily cruel. You might be thinking, oh my god, it's a dark fantasy, get over it. It does not need to be here. A dark fantasy book does not need that to be a dark fantasy book. Honestly, my favorite dark fantasy books don't even have essay in them. Because there's no need to be in books. Like, there's no need. And you can basically humiliate a character without just fucking destroying her in that regard. And I don't know. Also, there's no plot in here. No plot. Like, it's a character-driven book. I really like the atmosphere in general. That's what kept me going. And I was curious about one character that is basically the first character that you meet. But the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, you know, I'm frowning at this book. I don't know how I feel about it. I do have to say that I really like the concept. And I really want to be on board with this series. So I will give it another shot. Like, I'm going to reread this with this mentality and see what I think about it. Because I don't know what else to say. It's very difficult to describe when you actually enjoyed it at first. And then the more you think about it, the more you dislike it. It's interesting. I wouldn't say this is a bad book. This is not a bad book. If you like character-driven stories, you are going to really like this. But if you are very annoyed at gratuitous violence, when it does not make sense for the plot, well, not make sense, but it's not necessary for the plot. Not necessary. You might not like it. And I feel really weird saying this because I really like gore in general in my books, but I don't know. I feel like we've talked about this a lot on TV shows, on books, and there's just like so many ways to go around this without needing to resort to using a say. I don't know. I don't know. I might be the weird one here. But the more I think about it, the more I dislike it. I cannot help it. That's it. Getting to the top, I'm going to talk about the Garden of Empire. This is this is hard for me to talk about because this series is great, but book 2 is really not the best. It's really not the best compared to the rest of this series. I love book 1. Book 1 is one of my favorite books. It's just so good. So good. The Hand of the Sun King. Loved it. And then I read this and my hype was up here because book 1 was so good. And then this came. And it was not great. Very, very different from book 1. I did not enjoy my ride with it. It's definitely not bad, but my god, it's just such a complete shift from book 1 that it got me out of the story completely. I really like book 3 more than this one, even though it was still not as good as book 1. But this was probably my biggest heartbreak of the year. Like, I was so excited going into this one, having found like a new favorite book. I was just like, yeah, I'm having a new favorite series. But no, I just don't like this book as much to have it as one of my favorite series of all time. And I read this book twice this year. Twice. So imagine, like, then probably the most unnecessary sequel out here this year. This is The Kind Worth Saving, which is the sequel to The Kind Worth Killing, which is a fantastic thriller that I really, really, really like. It's one of my favorite ones, honestly. And this follows a couple of characters from book 1. It's just a stupid book, honestly. It didn't need to exist. Completely unnecessary. Stupidly bland. You know everything from the beginning. Like, it's so obvious. And the ride is not as good as in book 1. So it's a no for me. Now we are entering the bad ones. Poof, both of these are from Spanish authors. Like, I feel a little bit bad, honestly. But this one is actually from my favorite Spanish author. And why does this exist? I don't know. But this is La Ladrona de Huesos. So you see, this author is great because he used to write horror stories, but paranormal horror stories in the sense that we have like zombies and powers and such, not exactly like ghosts. And he decided to abandon that route not that long ago, and he started writing the most fucking generic books of all time. This cannot be most fucking generic. I felt like I was reading a Black Widow's backstory, and it pisses me off a little bit just because it's actually set on a place where I lived. So I should have loved this. And it makes me extremely mad because I love this author so much. So much. But this was just fucking bad. Like, it feels like very commercial type of thriller. It was so necessary, did not need it to exist. And the worst thing about this, you know, is that I lost my entire collection from this author from fucking bugs. And this is the only book that survived. Like, not even the fucking bugs want to read this book. It's just so annoying. I feel like I'm being extra harsh here, but I'm extremely disappointed with this. I actually DNF'd it on the middle of it because I was so mad and so annoyed at it. Like, it feels like a simple spy thriller. Why? Why? This author used to be called the Spanish Thief again. What happened? What happened? I'm just mad. And then maybe the book that tops the Inheritance Games as the worst book that I've read this decade. Basically. But this is Horizonte de estrellas. And this is the first book that I read this year. And still, after 215 books, I think, is still the worst one that I've read this year. And this is bad. This is not like, oh my god, I was so disappointed. No, this is bad. Bad. Like, bad. So this is a sci-fi book. You see. And in this world, we have met the aliens, and now we're going to explore another galaxy, you know? And just after getting there, the propulsion stops and they are stuck alongside a ship from another group of aliens that do not want to have anything to do with mankind. So they're just like stuck in there, and they decide to explore the ship. Sounds great. It sounded great for me too, until everything came along. Like, this book has one of the most extreme cases of fucking fat phobia that I've seen in my fucking life. Like, I'm very, very oblivious when I'm reading because I'm usually very focused on the plot, so I miss a lot of things. But this, they literally describe a guy here because he's fat. He's fat. Everyone else is just like, oh, they have dark skin, they are brown hair, but he's just fat. Okay? And because he is fat, he eats a shit that's in the fucking alien ship. Even though he's a fucking botanist. Like, okay, he's smart, you know? And you know why he eats it? Because he's fucking fat. There's also like so many instances, but there's also like a really good chunk of sexism in here. So unnecessary. Like, I was just like, what is this? And I'm so mad because I was hoping for so much. Like, I looked at it, I grabbed it immediately. I was just like, oh my god, exploring an alien ship while going to another galaxy. This seems amazing. This is maybe the horror that I need. This is maybe the sci-fi book that I need. It is not. It's just so fucking bad. And this actually won the fucking prize, didn't it? I think it actually won the fucking Minotaur. Yes, it fucking did. Why? Why this actually fucking win an award? Not even the concepts are mind-blowing. Like, what the fuck? I did like the science. I did like the science here. But the concepts are not like mind-blowing. It's organic computers. We've seen this before. What the fuck? I really want to get rid of this, but this was so expensive. Like, oh my god, I started not hating this. And then I stopped. Oh no, he wasn't a botanist. He was a linguist. I have it here. Like, literally, the first time that he comes into place, like, I'm reading, I have it noted here. The first time he comes into scene, you know, they're just like, oh, he seems to be fine. And the medics have given him declare, like, good for the mission, even though he barely fit in his suit. He was he was an obese man. More than 110 kilos. Like, 110 kilos is not fucking obese, dude. They're huge dudes that actually weigh 100 kilos and they are not fucking obese. Like, what the fuck? And one of the many disadvantages that an astronaut had was that they did not make EVA suits for fat people. For fatties, you know? What the fuck, dude? Like, the only reason that I haven't gotten rid of it is because it was really expensive. It's hardcover, and I wanted to show it to you in this video. A year later. Fucking year later. Unfucking believable. I feel like in these videos, like, there are always like a lot of disappointments and then one book that drives me fucking insane. It's incredible. It's incredible. It's just like one book a year that is just like, this is so fucking bad. Why was this ever... So yeah, have you read any of these? Did you like them? Did you dislike them? What is your worst book of the year? Please just let me know. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye.